It's a me, nigga Brandini. Oh. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of It's Giving, where we discuss the latest and greatest in TV and film. I'm your host, Brandon the Introvert, and in this episode, we'll be discussing Super Mario Brothers. So, just to give y'all some background, because I just feel like it's very relevant and very unique. We're in a unique time in terms of, I feel like now the big money market item is franchises. I feel like it was much harder to do franchises, in the 70s and 80s. Maybe not too much in the 90s, but nowadays it's all about franchises. You need a sequel. How can we make this idea elongated? How can we get some longevity and, most importantly, revenue from it? Like now we're seeing there's going to be a Harry Potter TV series, and each season is going to be based off of each book, and it's going to have new characters. And that film franchise was through the majority of the 2000s and then the early 2010s. I feel like stuff like that needs to give it a rest, but we're getting more and more and more franchises. You got franchises like Fast and Furious, the Disney franchises, Marvel. So now I feel like we're at a time where we're now seeing video game adaptations are marketable. We have The Last of Us, that was a hit. We have Sonic the Hedgehog, and now we have Super Mario Brothers. And I feel like the background in the current production inner workings of all that is very unique. Anyway, Super Mario Brothers is co-produced by Illumination and Nintendo and distributed by Universal Studios. Now, Illumination is the studio company that brought you Despicable Me, which is a franchise. You got 1, 2, 3, and I think they're making a fourth one. The Minions, I think, then the Minions Rise of Gru, I believe. I wouldn't be surprised if there's already a TV series. They had the Sing franchise, or Sing 1, Sing 2. I believe they're definitely making a Sing 3. Secret Life of Pets. There's a Secret Life of Pets 2. Then they had the film adaptations of Dr. Seuss's books, The Lorax, which is really good, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And now their upcoming movie is Migration. So we see that Illumination is also building up to becoming one of the most major animation studios, if not already one of the most major animation studios. I feel like at this point, they are rivaling Disney, at least in terms of movies. Despicable Me franchise is literally the highest grossing animated franchise ever so far. In Despicable Me, those are hit movies. Kids line up to see Despicable Me. They line up to see Sing. They line up to see Minions. I included is in the theaters seeing Despicable Me and Minions and such and such. So yeah, Illumination is really, if you don't know, now you know about them. Chris Melandandri founded Illumination in 2007 and now is brokered a partnership with Nintendo. We see Super Mario Brothers has been immensely successful commercially. So yeah, we see the Super Mario Brothers, it's literally the most successful video game adaptation, even surpassing the Sonic series, and is the biggest opener so far this year. I believe at this point I've seen, like as of today, which is April 12th, the movie has made about $400 million, and that number will continue to rise. And the movie it's been out for a full week now at this point, but it's only been out for a week. And I guarantee you there's going to be the people that, not the opening weekend people, the people after the opening weekend that are going in to, see what the hype is about, or didn't get a chance to see opening weekend. So that number is going to continue to rise. And I find all this interesting because Nintendo, for one, Chris Melandandri, he is the first person to be in the board of directors at Nintendo in Japan that isn't from Japan and isn't based in Japan. So that's interesting. Two, as some of y'all may know, Nintendo has been light on any video game adaptations into films from the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie, which was a commercial failure. Commercially, critically unsuccessful film, Super Mario Brothers. Nintendo hasn't been too keen on trying to make TV or film adaptations. Now, the reason for the failure, I feel like, could be attributed to a lot. It seems like the directors reportedly were kind of control freaks at the time. I'm not talking about them now, but at the time, many actors had complaints about just, disrespect towards the crew, how the directors were handling things, how things were structured, the multiple rewrites. It seems like the producers were also being they were assholes as well. So it just seems like there was a lot of disrespect, a lot of tension, a lot of stress in the making of the film. And John Leguizamo, he plays Luigi, and he even said that he came in drinking whiskey drunk during a filming one time with one of the co-stars. So it was just a hot mess overall. So the fact that now 30 years later we see a Super Mario Brothers movie it's a pretty interesting trajectory that it's taken. And it's not like Nintendo decided last year to do these adaptations. In 2015, then president of Nintendo, Satoru Iwata, wanted to be more proactive in extending the intellectual property of Nintendo across not just video games, or primarily just in video games. It seems like their vision was to take it across TV and film. And this was months before his death. So once he passed, his successor, Tatsumi Kimishima, in May 2016, announced that they are making plans to go into film production from their characters and their franchises. So this has been a relatively recent move by Nintendo to go into theaters, and we see Super Mario Brothers is definitely the landmark testament to the success that their franchise can bring into the film world, and most likely the TV world as well. So let's go into the movie. I really enjoy Super Mario Brothers. I found myself trying to view it through an adult lens, but I always have to remember with animation, kids animation, you always have to view it through the child. I know their audiences are definitely children, but I know their audiences are also adults like me who grew up on Nintendo. Like, I absolutely love Nintendo. Literally, I need to get on Twitch, like actually get on Twitch, but my streaming name is literally Nintendo Boy. So I love Nintendo. I was never the little boy. I wasn't like a lot of little boys anyway, but I wasn't the little boy that wanted to play COD or Modern Warfare or Halo or COD. Modern Warfare, the same thing? I don't know. I don't know. But I wasn't that type. I didn't want to play. I wasn't into sports like that, like basketball, football type sports. So I wasn't trying to play 2K, Madden. I didn't really even want a PlayStation like that. You just gave me a Game Boy Advance SP and I was good to go. Especially once I had the Nintendo DS, the Nintendo DSi. Of course, I have the Switch. Of course, I had the Wii. So I just was always a Nintendo person because the games, the franchises, the characters are just always fun. It's always an adventure. And I just always have a great time. It's more on the colorful spectrum of things when it comes to video games. And Nintendo, they're a classic. They're a classic institution. So I will always be playing institutions. I will always be playing institutions. I will always be playing Nintendo like throughout the time I am a human. So I was looking forward to joining in and taking in this movie because I'm a huge Nintendo and a huge Mario fan. I was just Super Mario Brothers, that was already on the list of things to review. So I've had this on my mind for a while and I was very excited to go and watch the film. So basically, to just get into it, the basic premise is Mario and Luigi, Italian-American brothers, live in Brooklyn. You know, the standard, you live in reality, you don't like your life, your talents aren't recognized, you're not living up to your potential, but you have a dream, one of those settings. And they get transported to this whole fantasy, this whole different universe, which is the world that we come to know with the Koopas and the Peach and the Yoshis and the Toads and all that other shit. So basically reality transported to another dimension, transported to another universe. Mario finds that, he has to save the day as well as save his brother and eventually save Brooklyn too. But that is pretty much the premise. I'm not going to go into detail about what happened and the plots and stuff like that. I'm going to start out with what I really like. So I really like the characters. We have Chris Pratt playing Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy playing Princess Peach, Keegan-Michael Key playing Toad, Jack Black as Bowser, Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. Fred Armisen is like one of my favorites. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, Kevin Michael Richardson as the little Koopa gay wizard. He was definitely on the down low. Or not the down low. Charlie Day as Luigi. That was a great choice. And am I missing anyone?
Why am I such a virgin?
I don't want to miss anyone, but those are like the main, at least the Mario universe characters. So I really enjoyed the characters, specifically Peach. I feel like I feel like now historically, like women characters that have been historically like damsel in distresses, there's been a shift where instead of that, they're more of they're taking the fate into their own hands. They're just competent, usually the most competent person in the room. You got Daphne from the Scooby-Doo franchise. I feel like her competency and her versatility started to show up around like the late 90s, early 2000s, animated and live action, where she started, get into karate. She was a fighter. Like, she was the fighter of the group. I feel like with Peach, we definitely saw that she was definitely more really the one of the main heroes in the story. So instead of just someone that Mario has to just straight up save. So I really liked her. I feel like the voice acting for her was really good. Like I just felt she was definitely inspiring, but also didn't take herself too seriously. She was definitely a down to earth type of character. I'm interested in seeing where they're going to go with her character arc, being that it seems like she was a human that somehow got transported into this universe. So that's definitely some more story left to tell with her. But overall, I enjoy Peach. Peach is cunt. I love Peach. I love Rosalina. I love Daisy. Mario, Chris Pratt got a lot of flack because it wasn't the traditional, like, yes, to me. So, and honestly, I gave into Twitter a little bit. I was just like, Chris Pratt as Mario, like, he's not animated enough. He's not like, it seems like it's going to be a dry performance, but I don't know. I like this Mario. I didn't mind Chris Pratt's Mario at all. What he gave to Mario was definitely somewhat of a dreamer, but still like grounding as well, like a grounded character. And I feel like that's what Mario is about. Like, Mario is a very humble, grounded type of character, at least through my eyes. Like, Mario isn't never trying to be in the center of attention. I'm talking about just in general, not just the film. Like, that's what I always get from Mario. Like, he's a humble plumber here to save the day. And that's exactly how he played him. In terms of just being interesting, I wasn't too like, wow, Mario, what? But he didn't do a bad job at all for me. Charlie Day as Luigi, I already knew he was going to kill it. I found it very endearing. I found Charlie Day he was just funny the whole entire time. And just like, I love Luigi. Luigi's my favorite out of that whole Mario franchise. So I really enjoy Luigi. He definitely brought heart to the film, and he was cute. He was definitely cute. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, I found kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong was funny. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad was... I like Toad. Bowser, Jack Black as Bowser was a natural fit for sure. But overall, it's not much I could say ad nauseum about like the characters, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much like my strongest opinions were really just Luigi, Bowser, and Peach, for real, and Cranky Kong. So yeah, that's what I have to say about the characters. Now, the visuals, I believe this is Illuminations, even though it was backed by, co-produced by Nintendo and funded by Universal Studios, I believe, too. Yeah, this was Illuminations' highest budget film. I believe it was around $100 million. And Illumination is known for having their films around like 60 million, maybe to even 80 million, but definitely around that range, because they believe like budgeting and cost cutting doesn't necessarily mean that the film is lower quality or less entertaining or less successful, and they've proven that. So, which I think is a smart, efficient model. But yeah, the visuals were really, 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 really good. I think it gave us everything that we can expect from a Mario Brothers adaptation. It was colorful, it was lively, it was interesting, it was engaging. It was definitely like put you in a lot of different worlds. I felt like I was in that world. And I feel like all the kids are gonna love it. Like, the visuals were astonishing. I feel like that went along with kind of the adventure pace of the film. The whole time it's a whole adventure, and I really feel that through, like I said, the graphics, the visuals, the world building, the designs of everything. Like, I loved it. Like, I felt like I was really in the game. I don't know if that sounds corny, but I did. Like, I really loved it. I would say, like, actually, especially if you're a big fan and if you don't care about the plot, which I'm about to get into, I recommend seeing this in the theaters. I know a lot of times they try to push seeing movies in the theaters, but like, we're in a recession, we're in hellish times right now. So pushing people to go to the movies, I feel like it's pretty like out of touch. But if you do have the option of going to the movies, I would say see this in the movies. Like, I feel like you would appreciate what I'm talking about in terms of, like, if you haven't seen it already, the scope and just the colors and the worlds and all the shit that I just said. Like, the movies definitely gave it a great feel, and I think was perfect for that with the sound and all of that. And I did see it in IMAX, so I don't know if that's different or like a stark difference, but I would still say see it in theaters. I feel like you won't get the experience completely like in your couch. Now, the shit that I kind of didn't like, I didn't like the plot so much. It was definitely a basic hero's journey plot, which is fine, but the Bowser, his whole motive was to like get with Peach, and it was a little creepy sometimes, like giving a little Ice King Princess Bubblegum. And I don't even know if was that his intentions in the game. I just felt like I just played as Mario and Bowser just stole Peach for whatever reason, and I had to go save her. Like, I don't know if that was his actual motive. I don't know, but I just didn't like it. It made Bowser a little too goofy. I think he was definitely a formidable villain. In his world, and his minions were definitely scary, but I didn't like Peach, I want to marry her, and like it just, they got the perfect person, because Jack Black can play, I feel like, voice animated wise, he can definitely play somebody that's intimidating but also like funny. Like, he's a comedic legend, so comedic icon really. So I just didn't like it. I didn't like the motive at all. It was just like I felt like every time, when Bowser was talking about world domination, that's when I was really into it. When he started talking about trying to get in Peach's pants, I kind of zoned out or kind of deflated. And I don't know, with the hero's journey, with Bowser's motive, it kind of made the plot of the film very basic and one-dimensional, and they used too many like major movie references that have just been played out. The Gladiator, the Mario Kart, and the Mario, them building the carts in that warehouse or whatever, it gave me a little Star Wars vibes, but like when's the first one he blew up, the episode 4 Star Wars episode, like that vibe. There was some other stuff too where I was just like, this is played out, but that's just me. That's what I said, like, that's just me viewing it as an adult. If I was a child, I wouldn't give a fuck. I would be living for every scene, living for every moment, not caring about the plot. I would be having a good time. And at the end of the day, that's really who it's for. So I'm not going to be too hard. That's just my opinions. I'm not going to be too hard on the plot when it's a kids movie. You know what I mean? But those are just my opinions. But overall, I enjoyed it. I would definitely take like my little sister, little brother to see it. It's definitely a worthwhile film, and it got me itching to play Mario Brothers now, or Super Smash Bros. And it's going to be, it's already, but it's going to be a very successful franchise. We see Nintendo Illumination already have plans for future productions, and the sky's the limit with that. Like, at the end, they did like kind of a Yoshi egg tease, so there's definitely going to be sequels. They're just not making it public yet. I think they're trying to just ride off of what they have out already, instead of like, okay, and okay, this film is out, so get ready for Super Mario Bros. 2. Like, I don't think they're going to do any announcements anytime soon until they have all the P's and Q's and the I's dotted and the T's crossed, because this is still, Super Mario Brothers is successful, but it's still relatively new ground in terms of a Nintendo backing or a Nintendo production with animation studio in theaters across the world. So, and I understand that, but I do think they're confident that it's going to be a very prolific type of film franchise. I already see Super Mario Brothers 2. I already see Yoshi being in it. I already see Wario and Waluigi maybe being the villains, maybe on the third one. Maybe Bowser comes back. Like, I feel like the sky's the limit. And then one of my favorite podcasts to read, Kid Fury, was talking about how he can see there might be a Smash Bros. MCU type of thing where, you got the Mario worlds, the Mario franchise, and then maybe Sonic, like Kirby coming in, Zelda coming in, Pokemon coming in. And I will be tuned in for that for sure. I just feel like the sky's the limit with it. And we already see there's a Nintendo world now. So Nintendo is really branching off from just pure video games or predominantly video games. They are extending that IP, okay, across whatever they need to, the fuck they need to get across. This is definitely a great film to take your kids, your nephews, your nieces, yourself. Like, it was very fun. If you don't really give a fuck about plot, you just want to see pretty colors, then I advise just going to theaters, getting high, maybe getting on some shrooms, and which would be pretty fitting for the movie, and just enjoy. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Once again, thank y'all for the support. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, access the link tree in the description for access to our Instagram, Twitter, burgeoning TikTok, YouTube channel, and any other podcast platform. So yeah, just be sure to do all that. And I will talk to y'all later. And right now, I'm thinking in my head of what the next episode is going to be. I already know what it's going to be, but I was trying to think what it was going to be, and now I already know what it's going to be because I just thought about it. So, but anyway, I will see y'all later, and looking forward to talking with y'all next time. Bye. I never know how to end. It's very, very weird. It's just weird. But bye, niggas.